Hey, what's up everybody? Richard Gaming Guy here. So in this video, I want to tackle a question that I've been getting for the last year and a half or so, but I've seen it pop up a lot more frequently over the last couple months, and that's, is Raspberry Pi dead? So we're going to dive into this a little bit. We're going to talk about what's currently happening with the Raspberry Pi product lines. We're going to talk about why everything started to happen the way that it has, and we're also going to talk about what needs to be done to improve the situation and give Raspberry Pi a fighting chance at continuing to hold on to their share of the market. So to kick everything off, to answer the question head on, is Raspberry Pi dead? Absolutely not. It's not dead. Raspberry Pi Foundation is still very much in business. Their products are still being manufactured, but they're extremely hard to come by. There's massive shortages on pretty much all of their products right now. It started with the Raspberry Pi 4 and it worked its way across all of their product lines, because once Raspberry Pi 4 became hard to find, people started moving to different products that maybe weren't as good but were available, and now we're seeing shortages across the board. Even the Pi 400, which for a while was really holding up pretty well in terms of inventory, price gouging was very limited on that. We're seeing that it has even increased. Not to the same scale as the regular Raspberry Pi 4, but it's definitely not getting better. It's only getting worse. So how did all this stuff start off? How did all this happen? So if we go back to 2020, we all experienced the pandemic and COVID pretty much the same way. We all got shut down. We were homebound. We weren't going out, and our life just changed 100%. But entertainment suffered quite a bit. We weren't going out to entertain ourselves. We weren't going out to eat. We weren't going to the movies. We weren't really doing much of anything. So word got out that there was this single board computer, and I'm going to use the Raspberry Pi 4 as my example today. That's what I'm most familiar with, and that's really where a lot of the popularity for this product line started. So you could get a Raspberry Pi 4, 4GB RAM, which was middle of the line in terms of the Pi 4. You had 2GB, 4GB, and 8GB RAM versions. 4 was dead center. That was $55 just for the single board computer, not for accessories, controllers, if you're doing gaming on it, cables, cooling fans, any of that stuff, just for the single board computer, $55. But that was $55, and then you could get all the accessories, and you ended up with a setup that, for retro video game purposes, got you into all your classic games up through PlayStation, N64, Dreamcast, and some PSP. That at $55 and obviously a little bit more for accessories was an insane deal. And I think pretty much everybody that learned about this jumped on the opportunity to get all of that and the capabilities there at that $55 price point. And you could do tons of other things with the Raspberry Pi products. You can code, you can build software, you can use different softwares. There's just an unlimited amount of possibilities with these single board computers. I'm just mostly familiar with emulation gaming, as I think most of you here watching this video, following this channel here on YouTube, is also most familiar with. So that was an insane deal, and with, again, it being the middle of the pandemic, people were not going out, so that was a great way to kill time and to enjoy life a little bit and to have some fun in a relatively dark period of everybody's life. So what ended up happening was Raspberry Pi Foundation was used to selling a certain amount of products for each of their product lines per year. And in 2020, when we were all locked down, their amount that they sold went through the roof. They were selling tens of thousands of these. I forget the exact number, but it was insane. And I've actually talked about it in past videos, but it was insane what they were selling. But, as that continues to progress, they ended up with a shortage because they eventually had sold out everything that they had, and they weren't able to manufacture more. Everybody got shut down, including manufacturers, for usually a shorter period of time than the regular average person, but they ended up shutting down and they weren't able to produce them as often or the same quantity that they had produced prior. So they eventually hit a wall, and they weren't manufacturing at a rate where they were able to meet all of their needs. So that is one aspect of how this shortage happened. And I think it's also paired with, I've heard, and I don't have confirmation of this, but I heard that there's a shortage on one of the components that's used to actually install within that computer board. So that definitely, you could see how that would cause a major issue as well. So what they need to do moving forward to try to figure that out, well, their communication hasn't been great with the public, so I'm not sure exactly what the extent is on their end as to manufacturing delays and issues, but if they are running into a problem where a component that's used to manufacture their single board computers is hard to come by, then you have to find another way to get around that. If it's a chip that is used on your board that is hard to come by, or there's a limitation on, then you have to find another chip that works. You have to find a way around that. And a lot of industries and businesses have been affected by shortages on chips and all of that. And a lot of them have adapted and found other ways around that issue to get something else that works in its place. And if that's the case, and I don't know that that is, if that's the case, then Raspberry Pi Foundation needs to figure that out and put that in place so they can get over this hurdle that they're currently facing, because this has gone on now for well over a year and a half. So it's a tough situation. Again, it's making them look bad, and it's really not entirely all their fault. In all honesty, it's the biggest issue, I think, is the price point, and that is people price gouging. And it's unfortunate, but it does reflect poorly on the company that is responsible for meeting the needs and demands of the consumers. So they got to figure it out, and I hope that they do. Now, if they don't, other manufacturers of other single board computers are going to definitely move in on their territory and start to pull some of the people from that market that are looking for single board computers. I can get frustrated with the Raspberry Pi and say, you know what, I'm done with Raspberry Pi products. I can't get a hold of them. I can't get more of these products. I'm going to move to Banana Pi or Orange Pi, and I'm going to use their products. But now on the other side of that, it's easier said than done, because I've personally tried other single board computers out there, and I have not found any of them to be as effective as the Raspberry Pi product lines. I don't find any of them to be on the same level at all, and that's just my experience, and I'm using them for retro video game emulation. So I'm not doing coding. For coding, for software usage, for all that stuff, you may be fine just switching over to another manufacturer or another company. But for retro video game emulation, I haven't found the same experience on any of the other options out there. And another thing that I think is going to help Raspberry Pi get through this time is their amazing community. They have a ton of users out there that have done so many different things with their product lines that if you have an issue, so let's say you got a Raspberry Pi 4 and you just download a RetroPie and you're trying to put together a build and you run into issues along the way, you can jump on Google, you can jump on YouTube and find solutions to your problems, because so many other people are out there using the same products, doing the same things. You've already figured out solutions to the problem that you're experiencing. And I'm a big part of that community. I've done tons of videos here on this channel dedicated to Raspberry Pi and to RetroPie, solving problems and fixing issues that people experience. So it's not just me, it's tons of people out there, again, whether you're into retro video game emulation on a Raspberry Pi, or you're into software or developing or whatever you're into. There's tons of people out there that are on Reddit, that are on different platforms, posting on forums and talking about issues that they experienced and talking about how to resolve those issues. You're not going to find that same experience with other single board computers out there. If you have an issue with a Banana Pi or an Orange Pi, you're going to have a much harder time finding other people that are out there using that product for what you're using it for. That doesn't mean that they don't have a community surrounding them and supporting them. They likely do, but I'm saying it is much smaller than that of the Raspberry Pi. So I think that the community is definitely going to keep people interested in Raspberry Pi and their products, and is definitely an asset to the Raspberry Pi product line. So, at the end of this, I hope that they do survive. I hope that they move past these issues and shortages that they're having. And from there, if they can, continue to manufacture and produce what they currently offer, then they can start to build, the Raspberry Pi 5 and all these other projects that I know they want to do. So I'm wishing them luck. I'm rooting for them. I hope that it all works out in the end. And I think, at the end of the day, it's the community supporting them that is going to get them through and, allow them to continue to have a firm grip on the market for single board computers. So that's my take on it. Let me know in the comment section, though, what you guys think about all this, because it is crazy. It's frustrating. But at the end of the day, they do have good products that are capable of a whole lot. So let me know in the comment section what you guys think. You guys know the drill, though. Smash the thumbs up on the video if you enjoyed this video and you found the content interesting, enjoyable, helpful, whatever. As long as you had a good time here, hit that thumbs up. And of course, hit the subscribe button if you want to stay in the loop for all future videos here on the Retro Gaming Guy YouTube channel. I do mostly retro video game emulation videos, but I do a lot with Raspberry Pi, and I'd love to do even more. So hopefully we see a solution to this issue and we see some growth and, Raspberry Pi Foundation and their product line moving forward. So that's going to do it for today. Thanks for the support. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video.